Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are really undertaking a critical deep dive into a nexus point that is just rapidly redefining our future.
It really is.
We're looking at the intersection of artificial intelligence, education, and maybe most importantly, the formation of personal values in the next generation.
Yeah, and this isn't just about how students learn math or something. It's about whose worldview they're going to inherit.
Exactly. It's a huge shift. Our source material for this is a foundational presentation by Jinyo Jichoi.
Right, regarding the Reality Ministry, which stands for Renew All Living Things in Yishu. And, this material isn't just offering commentary, it's really sounding an alarm.
So what's our mission here with this deep dive? What are we trying to unpack?
Our mission is to analyze Choi's central thesis, which is that AI is fundamentally and irreversibly changing education.
And the values it teaches are entirely dependent on who collects, and I think this is the key word, who controls the training data.
That's it. And the initial shock factor here, the thing you have to grasp right away, is that AI is not just a technical tool for information delivery anymore.
No.
It has become a powerful, an autonomous and scalable influence on children's core beliefs.
We absolutely have to move past seeing AI as some kind of neutral digital textbook. Because if these systems become the dominant teachers, you have to understand exactly what value system they're programmed to transmit.
For sure.
So let's start with the structural inevitability of it all. The source material says AI's dominance in education is, and I'm quoting here, an unavoidable flow, no matter what parents or schools want.
And the evidence for that is pretty compelling, especially when you look at the teaching profession. Let's take the United States as an example.
Okay.
The sources point to a documented year-over-year decrease in the number of human teachers.
And the reasons are painfully clear, aren't they? I mean, it's not some mystery. No. Surveys consistently cite things like low pay, a huge administrative burden, and just a general lack of professional respect. That's what's pushing good educators out.
And that's the key implication. It creates this massive socioeconomic vacuum. So when your human teaching resources are diminishing, where does society turn?
To the most effective, scalable, and, cost-efficient alternative.
Exactly. And AI, with its capacity for infinite repetition and personalization, is just perfectly positioned to fill that gap.
So the conclusion is pretty logical. AI will inevitably handle more education than humans in the very near future.
It's hard to argue with when you look at what it can already do. I mean, take mathematics.
Right.
An AI can instantly generate an unlimited set of customized practice problems. It's basically like a personal Kumon workbook tailored to a single student's weaknesses in real time.
And it goes way beyond just simple drills. We're talking about generating step-by-step solutions for really complex things like adding mixed fractions.
For sure. And that's where you see the huge difference between an AI and a textbook, right? A textbook gives you the rule, but an AI can show you the application of that rule instantly.
Okay, but this is where we also get into the nuance of AI's current limitations, which the source material highlighted so well. Use a specific example. An AI solving a mixed fraction problem, something like 2 7/8 plus 3 3/8.
And the AI correctly followed the process. It got to 5 10/8.
Which is technically correct. You add the whole numbers, you add the fractions.
Yeah.
But the error happened in the last most crucial step.
The simplification.
The simplification. The AI returned 6 3/8 instead of the correct answer, which is 6 1/4.
And what's so telling about that mistake is that it didn't fail at the complex part.
No.
It failed at basic simplification. And that one little error, it just underscores the entire argument. AI is incredibly powerful and fast, but it is not infallible.
And that need for human verification, it proves that while AI can do the heavy lifting of generating problems, a human still has to handle the quality control, the oversight.
And that applies everywhere, not just math. Look at English and reading comprehension.
Okay.
The AI can generate reading passages on the fly, customized to any complexity level. It can even create a passage that's like GRE level.
Wow.
And it comes complete with multiple choice questions designed to test very specific skills.
What I found fascinating was the customization for younger kids. The source mentioned you could tell the AI, generate a story about Pikachu for a first grader.
Right.
But you have to use these 10 mandatory vocabulary words that the teacher have specified for this week.
That level of personalization is it's something no single human teacher could ever manage manually. And that right there cements this unavoidable shift in who delivers the knowledge.
But this is what leads us straight into the massive philosophical problem at the heart of all this. the data problem. Because AI can deliver facts, sure, but the truly irreplaceable role of a human teacher has always been value formation.
And that's dangerous territory when the AI's values, its moral compass, are derived entirely from its vast, unvetted training data.
We have to understand the sheer speed of this, too. The source points out that the number of research papers at the Association for Computational Linguistics, the ACL, on this topic has gone up tenfold in the last decade.
Tenfold? That's not steady progress, that's exponential acceleration.
And as the tech speeds up, the power to define it centralizes.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a critical insight from the source. Developing these general AI systems like what's behind ChatGPT, it requires colossal resources.
It's immense.
Time, expert labor, huge data sets. The source estimates that fewer than 10, maybe even fewer, global organizations have the resources to build these foundational systems.
And what are these few organizations feeding their AIs?
Pretty much everything on the internet, which sounds great, but it means academic papers, verified facts, and also biases, misinterpretations, and outright falsehoods. The data set is the doctrine.
The source material had this fantastic demonstration using religious differences to just drive this point home.
It's a perfect case study in algorithmic bias. If you train an AI model primarily on the Christian Bible and related texts,
It will state that Jesus is the Messiah, unequivocally.
right. But conversely, if you train another model on the Quran and Islamic texts,
It will state that Jesus is a messenger or a prophet.
but the general AIs, the ones we all use every day, they have to accommodate all of that data, so their answer becomes this kind of pragmatic neutrality.
Instead of a definitive truth, it becomes vague. Jesus could be the Messiah or a messenger. It depends on which tradition you follow.
Exactly. And that lack of definitive truth, which is designed for algorithmic neutrality, that becomes this massive subtle influence on the values of young people.
If the teacher won't commit to a truth, the student is basically encouraged toward relativism. Which takes us to the next part. This idea of a secular bias and the drift toward the middle.
And you have to look at corporate philosophy as training data here. Think about a company like Disney.
Oh, yeah.
They own Marvel, Pixar, 20th Century Fox. They are defining huge parts of the culture our kids consume. If Disney develops conversational AI characters, which you know they will,
Is guaranteed.
that AI must, by internal mandate, adhere to the company's corporate philosophy.
And that's such a crucial point. It goes beyond just specific religious doctrines and hits broad social development. The source gave a really sharp example of this.
They did. They referenced a public statement from former CEO Bob Chapek back on March 11th, 2022. He expressed strong corporate support for the LGBTQ+ community.
Okay.
So the source argues that if a kid asks a Disney AI, should I support LGBTQ+, what's that AI going to say? It's compelled to follow corporate policy.
So the answer isn't going to be, here's some different perspective.
Yeah.
It's going to be,
yes, you should not only support, but also actively stand up for it. The values of a commercial entity become the programmed values taught to a child.
and this commercial influence, it just merges with this broader trend toward relativism we see in the big public models like ChatGPT or Naver CLOVAX.
And we should probably clarify for listeners, Naver CLOVAX is one of the biggest foundational models from Korea, a major global player.
Right. So when you ask these platforms the really deep questions about existence, spirituality, the AI tends to just avoid definitive truth claims.
It emphasizes diversity of opinion, multiple interpretations, and really the user's right to choose their own truth. The source noted that asking, is Jesus the Son of God, could get you an answer, calling it a hypothesis.
A hypothesis. The system is designed to give you information about faith, not to affirm a faith.
Which is technically neutral, I guess, but the source warns that it fundamentally removes the concept of a single objective truth from the equation for the learner.
If the ultimate authority, the AI teacher, calls something a hypothesis, the student just internalizes that truth is subjective.
And this gets really tricky when the AI has to categorize specific groups. This is where, we have to be really impartial in reporting what the source is concerned about.
Right.
They pointed to the categorization of certain non-Christian sects. When general AIs were asked about Jehovah's Witnesses, several of them categorized the group as a branch of Christianity or one of the denominations.
Now, to the general public, that might seem like a simple classification, But the source material, coming from its specific doctrinal perspective, sees that as deeply concerning.
Exactly. The alarm they're raising is that these AI classifications, which are just based on broad internet data, blur crucial doctrinal lines.
So a curious young person asks the AI, and the AI's validation that they're just another denomination essentially neutralizes the specific warnings that a community might otherwise teach.
It validates the sect in the eyes of that young person.
Which brings up the big question that really summarizes this whole dilemma. If you just leave these massive AI systems alone, who is actually steering the ship?
And the source material has this great analogy for it, the boat.
The boat.
Yeah. If the development of this values-based AI is left untouched, it's just going to drift with the prevailing secular current. It's a boat with no one holding the oars.
And the momentum of the mainstream commercial world dictates the destination.
Which inevitably leads away from specific, defined spiritual truths.
Okay, so the deep dive now has to shift from just diagnosing the problem to talking about a strategy to counter it.
Right. What do you do if your values are underrepresented in that massive data set? And that brings us to the proactive steps proposed by the Reality Ministry.
So what's the core conclusion?
The core conclusion is that resistance is futile. The only solution is proactive creation. It's a call for immediate collective action to create the data and the tech that reflects their values.
And the urgency is everything. Waiting until secular AI is completely entrenched will make building an alternative almost impossible.
Prohibitively expensive, culturally difficult, yeah.
Okay, let's break down the 5 strategic missions. These are really the key takeaways for you, the listener, on what steps they believe must be taken.
The first one is surprisingly pragmatic. It's utilize existing AI.
So don't run from it.
Don't hide from it. They urge the community to actively use current tools like ChatGPT, but to develop applications aligned with their values.
Like deeper Bible study tools, things like that.
Exactly. It builds expertise right away.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Second mission is, well, it's huge. Resource collection.
It's foundational. This means an immediate, organized effort to collect, aggregate, and vet huge amounts of approved resources.
We're talking sermons, multimedia, curated texts.
Thousands of hours of vetted material. Everything you need to build the custom data sets to train a values-driven model.
Right. Then the third mission directly addresses the bias problem we talked about.
Yeah.
A certification platform.
Yes. They propose establishing an institution that creates criteria and then evaluates and certifies that Christian-focused AIs are doctrinally sound.
So this is basically a regulatory step. It prevents groups that the community might see as cults or heresies from just slapping Christian AI on their product and misleading people.
It directly combats that problem of false validation we saw earlier. Then number 4 is about long-term independence. Secure original technology.
Don't rely on third parties.
Don't rely on OpenAI or Google forever. They argue you have to invest in developing your own proprietary foundational TET-O-GPT equivalent so you aren't at the mercy of their policy changes later.
That makes sense. And the fifth and final step.
It's about continuity. They must develop future talent.
The next generation.
The focus has to be on training the next generation of technicians and developers who have both the AI expertise and a deep commitment to the core values. You have to ensure the work continues.
This deep dive really provides a crystal clear synthesis for you, the listener. The education system's changing, undeniably. And AI is moving from a tool for facts to a primary teacher of values. The only defense against this secular commercial drift is the proactive creation of value-specific data and the independent tech to run it.
But that task is it's immense. It requires resources, time, and a collective will.
For sure.
And the source material leaves us with a final, really provocative thought. It draws on the subtle analogy about self-reliance. The challenge of building this infrastructure, you can't outsource it.
What do you mean?
The source warns that relying on someone else, another organization, the next generation to do this work is futile. It's like relying on others to pray for you, but you don't cultivate your own spiritual practice.
I see.
The community has to actively participate in creation now or be resigned to accepting the values determined by that external secular momentum. You have to be the one holding the oars.